Okay, so can we start with an approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Approval of the minutes. There was one change, right?
One change,
Yeah,
Maureen was here.
He was here and still on the phone, so we
Okay.
made that change already.
My report went out. Any questions?
I'm killing that,
Yeah,
sorry.
where'd you get that ring?
I'm sorry,
Oh,
I'm
sorry,
killing it right
wrong
now, that's what I was doing.
Jeff
Okay.
sends it here.
I actually like that.
Any questions?
No.
I do have one thing to add, if I may. We have been approved for our part-time Long Island staff person.
Oh,
Wow,
congratulations.
fantastic.
So I guess it'll go into
It goes
November's.
into the November
November's budget.
financial plan,
So-
For you.
which is the budget, which is the proposed budget, so it gets voted on in December.
That's great.
So hopefully by January, we'll get a posting up for somebody.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's to be added on as of today. Ira's not here, so I spoke to him, there really wasn't much he wanted to discuss.
yeah, I mean, the only thing, the only thing he is going to raise some issues about safety, particularly in view of the Hoboken, the energy transit
I'm
Hoboken.
discussing that stuff, so yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things was the Cures came out with a report, so we'll follow up on some of the things on freight that they had asked, and they'll ask us to follow up. You have a staff report?
I don't have much. We didn't get much in terms of contacts from people. We had somebody who wanted to have reduced fares during morning rush, and some of our usual folks who complain about the schedule and the 5 minutes and 59 seconds. But one of the things we're doing that I do want to mention is we're working with the MTA on some of their outreach leading up to the fair hearings. We're trying to get them to do more than just have the boring hearings where nobody talks back. And next Wednesday, we actually have a meeting with the person who's working on that for the MTA, and hope to get. She was very new to the position when we first met with her. Said give me a couple of weeks, so we gave her a couple of weeks, and we're going to meet with her again and talk about trying to do something other than just the standard public hearings.
Do you have specific suggestions for her?
Yeah, a lot of there was actually a study done back in 2010, in I think 2010. I think it actually got
The
released.
NYU guys
Yeah, the
actually
NYU guys.
participated in it.
And they had a lot of good they had a lot of good points about doing community meetings. Also,
But the
I think they
MTA
can-
already rejected them.
they did, but that was a different executive. That was a couple of executive directors ago.
Okay.
So it was basically started. It was basically started under Lee Sander, actually executive director, and then a chair, then Jay Walter canned it, and now we got a new chair, so we don't know. Also the stuff they did on the L train, they're very enamored of the response they got. Basically, they found that by going out and explaining the situation to people, they didn't immediately attack them. So they like not being attacked. So we're trying to get them to do something much closer to what they did on the L train with some of the community meetings, and getting out there and at least explaining what the situation is, rather than just saying, okay, you have 3 minutes to give your comments, and then we'll do something with it.
I would also add in, I think they've had a better experience lately between the second track and the third track. They've been out there in the community meeting, right, Hector? So I think that they've noticed it may not be also as bad as they originally thought being out there, and it may help them. And I think that there's a little bit more of a receptance to do something else than they used to do. We're just announcing things, because you've been doing that.
It's not bringing tar and feathers to the meetings, I think, so that's a positive.
Anything else? Anything else staff is working on?
Yeah, and we're working on some things. Actually, it may come back into LIRR. We're working with New York City Transit. They want to change their performance statistics. They want to get away from on-time performance, and they don't like this measure called a weight assessment that is really hard to explain. to people and hard to understand, so we've been working with them on trying to come up with something that's passenger focused. It doesn't have immediate applicability to Long Island Railroad, but we have been talking about things like excess wait time and excess train time that might come back and be useful measures on the LIR side.
Yeah,
So
well, I have an opinion about that. I mean, on-time performance, it's gotta go away, the way it's being measured.
Yeah, we discussed that.
right, well, yeah, I think,
Yeah.
it's got.
Are you
it's got
dealing
it.
with, transit?
We are working,
MTA, or
it is New York City Transit. We actually presented to the president I guess the beginning of last week, not this week, but last week.
Can we see what you presented?
Oh,
So
sure.
to know where you're coming from?
Sure, I mean, we can send you, I'll send out a copy of what we,
And then let us know their reception to it?
Yeah, they're actually looking at a lot of different things internally, so.
Would that be done by each transit separately, or is it MTA, is it MTA
It would probably be
procedure?
done by each, because there's enough differences between commuter rail and subways that you really would have to come up with your own measure, but a lot of the concepts you could transfer over. And if they got something in place at transit, they might be amenable to doing something along the same lines, maybe not exactly the same measure, but measuring the same kind of thing, like how much extra time it takes somebody to get from point A to point B, rather than some on-time performance measure.
That's the first we hear it, it's
So, I mean,
interesting.
I think it may come to benefit LIR and Metro North.
All right, anything else?
That's about it.
Larry?
Nothing new. I just been too busy to, and I haven't really gotten anything, but if nobody's had a chance to walk around the West End Concourse, I suggest take a look. It actually looks nice and it looks spacious.
Yeah, I've been trying, you can only access it though from certain tracks. It's not accessible for,
No, I think it's accessible through all tracks now.
not
Because I've
This
gone
week.
down on 13, 15, 20.
this week, like 17 wasn't accessible. I actually thought about this the other, like 2 days ago, because I saw that one of them was open and I could just see
Yeah,
the
my only-
signage.
My only comment that I would have is that somebody who's 7 feet tall is going to start feeling claustrophobic because that ceiling, that drop ceiling is pretty darn low. I'm 6 foot and it's close to me. But somebody who's 7 foot tall is going to feel a little claustrophobic with that drop down ceiling. It's an area where there is no drop down ceiling, and I think that looks a lot better. And I don't know if they're planning on doing the ceiling there, but
All right, we're getting back to this, what's the next step for the communication work? What's
right
the
now
next step?
I've just been trying to put together a report of what we've got, and what I'm going to do is then we're going to put it out, try to get recommendations from people on how to
Have you
improve.
gone to visit them?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so, can you help them?
Yeah, we could, it's really where you have time,
Yeah.
and then we'll figure something.
Yeah, it's just been with this election things, it's just been a little on the crazy side lately.
Yeah, we have a new director of the PIO is about to be hired, or promoted. So once they're in, then we can meet with,
PIO working out of Jamaica?
When's that
If you
expected?
let me,
it's imminent.
Imminent?
Yes.
yeah, you can let me know.
Not you?
No, he just
No,
got
you
Just
got
got
a
promoted.
Or are you higher than
promotion
that?
at a time. Yeah.
You got a secretary now, a nice corner office, or? No?
Big window?
Member reports, have anything going on in Metro Woods?
No, nothing. I did speak to Hector earlier, trying to coordinate with him a walk through Hicksville's construction and the impact it'll have on the riders and commuters. So we're going to plan that for the end of this month.
I park there all the time, so if you let me know if I'm around, I'll join you. I'm there now, I'm gonna park there
There's
now.
been little impact. I mean, you see work being done, but
It's gonna
It's
be
not
like that.
affecting.
Most of the major work is gonna happen between now and May on the weekends, so they don't affect any parking or commuters. There'll be some work during the off-peak hours. They wanna work in small sections at a time. So next summer, the big impact from May till September, they're gonna shut down fully the north platform and that track. And they're gonna, in like 4 months, totally demolish and rebuild a new platform on the north. And so no trains will use that track, so service-wise during the summer, We're gonna eliminate a lot of the transfers at Hicksville, they're gonna move them to Jamaica. You know, so we don't want too many people transferring there, because it's gonna be too much chaos, so we're gonna move some of those trains, so there will be a service impact next summer. And then after next September, until the following, like, early spring, they'll go back to finish all the last minute touches on both platforms. And
Is there enough?
we went from like a 4-year project to like a 2.5, 2-year project.
Is there
No,
enough
you're actually
spacing?
doing a 2-year project and a 2-year project.
Yes. No, but before was, we wanted to have no impact to commuters, that's why I was stressed out.
I know, but when you say reduced or changed service, is that you're gonna be canceling trains?
They're gonna redo the schedule,
Okay.
so some, they may not be able to fit the same number of trains, so, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just making an observation and that I've been saying here is that the summer service from Port Jeff has been radically reduced 2 summers in a row. And now you're saying it's gonna happen again for a 3rd summer. Because, supposedly it was track work, then it's more track work, then it's more track work. But it's like barely existent service. So that I think people really need to get a heads up on way in advance of 3 days' notice that there's reduced service this
Right.
weekend.
And not just the communication for that station, but what
Every
lines go through there.
Yeah,
which-
exactly. I mean, because that's been a huge. I mean, I was telling everybody here, I got an earful from somebody who commutes from Stony Brook, and not every day, but they just said that the entire level of service disruption has become majorly problematic. And I've questioned why so much reduction of service. It's been non-existent on some weekends. So, to hear that it's gonna another year, summer of disruption for people on the north side of the island, it's pretty severe.
You should have the nicest tracks in the system by the time they're done.
We should, but we don't. Try to get to work on time. I mean, it's been significant and deep, and I don't understand it, and nor do the people. I mean, I just don't understand what is going on. That for 2 summers in a row, like they're not laying a 3rd track. So.
Well,
This has got to get worked out.
laying that new track went quicker than the others. No? That's done already for the 2nd track to West High
I
School.
know, that's what
It's
I'm
late
saying.
already. It went quicker than this project.
Whatever this project is, it can't be routine track work that has transpired for
I mean,
these past 2 summers.
One thing Pat has told the people that plan for the maintenance work is, he's told them that, like, why are you coming back to the same areas more,
Right,
so he's trying to get them to consolidate it, and like, he doesn't want to hear you're gonna come back. If you're gonna be in that area, say spend whatever, 6 months or a year there and then get it done, don't come back every year for like 3 years, but, so they are looking at.
right, because they're cutting service. I mean, it's 90 minutes between trains, when they have trains. It's like not insignificant. So, and the thing that I wonder too, because when you start doing year-to-year performance comparisons of service and cancellations and this, they'll do this time last year, this time this year. Well, if you're not running trains, you're gonna look a whole lot better in terms of what performance you actually
Right,
have.
unless you're
Although
running.
last weekend you managed to both kill service and whatever service you supplied along the main line was delayed by an hour anyway. Like, how did that happen?
You mean after the accident?
No. This was like, no, this was they were doing the switch, upgrading or whatever. But they had, that couldn't even, the schedule that was created for that couldn't even deal with what was going, I mean, there were 60-minute delays on a reduced service. So, pre-accident.
Hector, is Wantagh on schedule out of curiosity?
Yes.
Because it's kind of funny, gone a bunch of times and I've never seen anybody working.
No, they're working all those barricades, they're working on like the elevator pits and other stuff, but so they removed part of the platform very quickly, the eastern end. And they're doing other work that is not visible, but they are working.
Okay, I've gone there a couple of times on purpose and I'm like, there's nobody working at track level.
You know,
They're going in.
they're doing other work underneath.
Okay, just curious.
Terry, anything happening in your neck?
No, kind of quiet.
Or cars not making it all the way through?
But I will say, communications wise, they were very, they tell us exactly what was going on. Yes, we had a car on the tracks in Bay Shore, so we sat in Babylon for a while waiting for the cleaning up, but.
I did mention that, actually I had an experience I've never had before. When the trains were late that day, when they had those really bad delays, I had a train which was announcing details which I've never heard before, and I was very shocked. We heard, you know, three cars ahead of us are waiting for their papers to be, what's the word
They
again?
got train orders,
Yeah.
But the paper to be, three cars, now the car's two ahead of us, car in front of us. I mean, they really were letting us know as the paperwork was being done on the trains. I've just never had that before. That's why I said, mine was.
We had a little bit of that. I like I said, well, and it became a joke because the conductor kept telling people, that if they wanna go out and have a smoke. Well, a young couple behind me were like, why are they encouraging people to go smoke, you know? But I thought too later, smoking's illegal on the
It's
platform.
prohibited,
Right,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
aside
yeah,
from
yeah.
that, the communications generally were frequent. You know, we have people and that's that, but again and over, no estimate of how long we were all gonna be sitting there. And I left. That's when they announced that they were, we had an eastbound train coming in. That's when my husband and I looked at each other, and neither one of us were gonna make. I had to be on an 11:30 conference call. That was real critical, and I had to be in a private location to do it. So it was just like, had to make that judgment call, get off and head back east.
I think I made the train before you, luckily, because once we got to, then we went through. I mean, once we got to,
Right.
I guess it was Mineola.
Was that where they had the fatality in Mineola?
Right, and the train, and the bridge.
I think
Yeah,
when I last checked, my train was 2 hours late
Right.
when it finally arrived
Mine was
at
too
its
bad, since I left
destination.
earlier.
In addition to
Yeah,
the
mine was
hour
too.
that it would have taken. So it's a 3-hour trip. But no, I mean, it's just, again, people trying to figure out, you know, where you're at that point. Do I stay and go, or do I jump and head back? So,
Right.
So they got an e-ticket statement, what's the time for that?
One, we're gonna get the thing on it, so.
Oh, okay, so I got a comment about
One
that.
thing about communications, that day, the train that I was on, they were excellent. I mean, they told us, it's a fatality. We're gonna be here for a long time.
yeah.
The doors are open, and we happen to be in Bethpage, and it says, there's a 7-Eleven right over there, you've got time. No, seriously,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how much.
Go have your
No, they
cigarette
didn't
over there.
encourage, they didn't encourage anybody to smoke. But I mean, seriously, that meant a lot to people. No, okay,
We
we are
won't
stuck
close
here.
the doors.
We can
we'll
get a
give
cup
you-
of
yeah,
coffee.
no,
we
that
ain't
it
told you
does.
not to
I
leave
agree
without
with
us.
you. That does
You know.
matter. And they do know it's going to be at least 90
Well,
minutes
yeah.
if there's a fatality.
Yep.
So now, new business, I mean, Hector, I don't know what, if anything at all, tell us, on the derailment, anything at all, besides what we read in the papers. Is there anything?
That's really all we have, because FRA and us were still investigating it, and once the report comes out, we'll come back and we'll present everything to you folks. But
Now, is NTSB involved in this? I've read certain, it is, it's not.
Yeah, first we heard it wasn't, then we heard they are, it's just like,
I believe it's just FRA and us. We,
Okay.
each of us are doing an investigation.
Yeah, I think the governor said NTSB and that people ran with it.
Yeah, because I think I saw in Newsday, I think it said NTSB is
Yeah,
involved in it.
I
But
saw
then I
that.
heard Railroad say
I saw
no.
I saw the footage of, he did a news conference out there, and I saw the footage of it, and he said NTSB, so I think that's where people got it from.
Oh, but they're not involved.
They may, you know, so I think if they were asked to do something, they would do it.
They may have responded initially, but as of now.
Yeah, they may have, yeah, I mean, they may have responded, and I think if somebody said, could you give us some technical assistance here, they'd do it, but what they generally do is they're looking for things that are transferable, they're looking for more than somebody ran a stop signal or somebody didn't
What
put
about
the switch
injuries
back into
though?
place.
Yeah, I mean, we had.
What about the pattern of injuries?
We sent 11 people to the hospital.
Yeah, no, I
That
mean,
wasn't-
I know,
that
I know.
wasn't-
42 people. with
Well,
that.
42 people were injured, but I heard 11 were
Yeah,
hospitalized.
11 were
Yeah,
serious
yeah,
enough
yeah.
to.
Serious enough.
Yeah.
Actually be there, yeah, be in the.
I mean, so what does it take for them to
I mean,
investigate?
someone had surgeries, right? Someone had a couple
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
surgeries.
Well, like I said, I think I said it in the email, the only thing they're required to investigate is civil aviation accidents. And then they pick and choose.
I think it's mostly if there's a fatality on a trip.
It's usually,
If there's no fatality, they don't really get involved.
usually fatality is sort of the bell,
Threshold.
the bell that wakes them up.
Well, what my concern is, we had a presentation at PCAC from FRA, and all they told us was how little,
It has to be,
and how little resources that they even have.
Oh, well,
they
that's
can't-
state,
Yeah.
Oh, that's the state people.
That's the
That was
state,
terrible.
Okay,
state.
so I hope that we're not relying on that agency to do this, because they were telling us that they had no people.
There will be a investigation out of the state, but they do, most of their investigations are what they call abbreviated report. And it's just basically filed in writing, and everybody vote aye to approve, and they approve.
So far with News 12 and Newsday have been reporting it was human error on a switch control or something like that. That's what I've been reading so far.
Yeah, that's the last I
I mean,
heard.
everybody that seems to know anything that.
But why is
says
there a
something.
human on switch controls? Are we
Because I
still
think it's-
doing that?
Because I think it was because of the work train.
It was the work trade.
Yeah, it's not a
Okay.
normal situation.
You know, I mentioned it to Mark and Ira, but I don't know if you remember, I think it's a year ago or maybe two, but I told you that there's a spot after traveling east, after New Hyde Park, where that there has been a noticeable lean, that where the train feels like it's starting to derail. And the last time I reported it, you know, people literally went, whoa, you know, because of the speed. And I don't know where this derailed exactly.
Yeah, it was just east of New Hyde Park.
I know it was just east of New Hyde Park, but I've twice brought it up in this meeting that there's a
Tilting car.
section of rail where all the cars start tilting.
Didn't it derail because it was sideswiped or sideswiped that work train?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm bringing it up
Well,
again
I don't know
because
what the
that's
rails are
exactly, because it
Well, if the
had,
train was
I mean,
leaning.
the
you know,
train
that's why
leans
maybe
to
it
the
could've
point where
flipped.
you
Well, they said
feel
that-
like
they
it's
said
coming
that
off the
the,
rails.
I remember
They
you
said
mentioned
that the work train fouled it.
Did I mention it at PCAC? I know I brought it
Yeah,
up.
the
remember
work train
you brought it up,
definitely
and I was-
did foul the
So
envelope,
nothing to
the
do with it.
operating envelope for the, is what I.
But maybe that, whatever, if it is, I think, if I can get an aerial of where the,
Yeah, remember I mentioned to you about?
It's
Yeah.
happened just past Denton Avenue, right before Maryland Avenue Station. Right before Maryland Avenue. It's like,
yeah,
it's like a park area, it's right there. It's like all wooded and stuff.
where the reservoir is,
Yeah.
it was in that area?
Actually, no.
No, further
It's
west.
right before
than that.
Maryland Avenue Station.
Yeah, I need to see where it was, and then I can tell you if that's, but there's a section there that the train, you know, and people react to it,
Is that on eastbound?
eastbound. And it only happens eastbound,
So that means it's the south.
south side, yeah.
You'll get it, you'll get one, you guys are working getting one?
Yeah, I mean, just if you do, I can tell you if it's the same location. I wanna put the other one closer to the, closer to the, track.
And I wanna switch two things, cause, we have people here.
Yeah,
So I'd like to go into the fair, the new fair, the mobile ticketing. You guys are gonna show us what's happening, give us a little briefing on how it's going.
Yep.
And, you know, because I personally haven't seen anybody use it on the train yet, myself.
Yeah, right.
I can say myself.
Oh, you're
So,
a unique one.
yeah,
I use it
I
every
could be. So I would really like to see how, you know, because I never.
A lot of
We
people
have
love
some
it.
stats, yeah, a lot of people. So
Okay.
are we ready? I'm sorry.